Lucas, a banker, bumps into a man dropping his briefcase and they both fall down. The man takes the briefcase while Assane checks if Lucas is okay. Then Assane chases the thief and gets back the briefcase somehow. They check if everything is inside, and before Assane leaves, he says Lucas's name and Lucas is stunned. Back at the police station, Roman is questioning Herbert and tells him to put his phone away, but Herbert is waiting for Albert, a minister, to get him out of the interrogation. Roman doesn't care and starts asking questions about the necklace and the insurance contract. Herbert states that he didn't do anything wrong, and after getting the payout from the insurance, he gave it all back afterwards. Then they show Assane's photo, and Herbert accuses Assane and Babacar of both being thieves. After, they ask about Leonard, so Herbert tries to stall for time. Roman talks about Leonard having a gun and living at one of Herbert's rentals. They are trying to link Leonard to Herbert, but luckily Albert called and got Herbert out of the interrogation. Juliet meets with Assane to let him know that Herbert got out and wants to cancel the fundraising concert, but Assane convinced Juliet not to because Herbert might get suspicious if it gets cancelled. Then Assane brings up the kids the foundation is going to help, and if she folds, Herbert is going to win. Assane gets a call, so he goes off to answer. Benjamin wants to meet with Assane to give him back the dog because he is getting annoyed by its barking. So Assane tells Benjamin to bring it to his place. Herbert, Leonard, and Pascal are talking about Faberoni's funeral, and they find out that Benjamin paid for the funeral. Pascal suggests keeping an eye on Benjamin because if they are working together, then he will 100% meet with Assane. Pascal wants to take the lead, but Herbert gives it to Leonard. Once Leonard leaves the room, Herbert tells Pascal the reason for giving the opportunity to Leonard. Benjamin closes the shop to return the dog back to Assane, but along the way, we see Leonard following behind. They meet in front of Assane's place to go inside to give back the dog. Leonard sneaks in when Benjamin leaves. Assane puts on music while cooking food, and Leonard sneaks into the place to take out Assane. Leonard readies the shot, but Pascal takes out Leonard before he could shoot Assane. Assane notices some noise, so he turns off the music to hear, but doesn't hear anything, so he continues cooking and turns back on the music. Pascal leaves quickly, then calls the police to report Leonard's lifeless body at Assane's place and reports back to Herbert that the deed is done. Sophia gets Assane's address and is hyped to go arrest Assane. When Assane finished preparing the meal, he sees the dog laying beside Leonard and then hears the police sirens, so he escapes before the police could get to him. Later, police take everything as evidence. Then Gabriel takes Roman to a separate room to tell him to keep it on the low and to restrict entry to the evidence room. Assane calls Benjamin to grab what is important and leave his store. While Benjamin is walking, Assane calls Benjamin to check if he's being followed, and Benjamin notices someone following him. Assane tells Benjamin to wait for the bus, and the guy sitting beside Benjamin might be a murderer. So Assane tells him,
"When you get up, the guy's gonna do the same. But he's gonna let you get on first. And right before the bus leaves and the doors close, get off."
Benjamin is able to lose Pascal in the end. Assane scares Benjamin from behind, but he is relieved to see Assane and then they disappear. We get a flashback of Assane and Benjamin going to the catacombs and the reception showing them the full map of the tunnels. Assane asks to borrow it for their project and the lady lends it to them. Yusuf is disappointed that Assane isn't Lupin because Lupin doesn't kill, but Sophia cheers him up. Assane and Benjamin go to a safe hideout, but Herbert messages Gabriel about Benjamin being Assane's partner. So Gabriel gives Roman Benjamin's store address to have it raided. Sophia is searching the desk and she finds a lead that Assane and Benjamin might be at a storage facility. The police head to the storage unit while Assane comments on a post to send an encrypted message, but Assane notices some noise. So they pull out the map and escape through the tunnels. The police are able to find the unit, but they are already gone. Roman finds a hidden doorway to the tunnels and goes down there with Sophia. Back at the station, Yusuf gets a notification and sees Assane's comment, and finds out the hidden message is the Jewish lamp they took for evidence. Yusuf remembers seeing it when they raided Assane's place and goes into the evidence room to find the lamp. Inside one of the candles was a USB, and it had all the info Assane had gathered throughout the years. Meanwhile, Roman and Sophia had no clue about the tunnel system and sees a ladder going down. Roman wants to continue the chase, so they go down. Sophia freaks out after seeing a bunch of bones, but Roman continues. Suddenly, Roman jumps out saying,
"People from the cemetery. Police! Nobody move!"
and then asks the tour guide if he saw Assane and shuts the place down to catch Assane. Assane and Benjamin go through the tunnels with ease because they have the map, and then they also went through it when they were younger. They escape through a small crack leading to a garden, while Roman and Sophia walks past the crack. Assane gives the map to Benjamin so he can repay the receptionist that gave the map to them before. Gabriel wants to talk with Herbert in private, but Herbert tells Gabriel that everyone there is friends. So Gabriel tells Herbert that they got all the evidence that could lead back to them in a secure location ready to be destroyed. Also, any charges held against Herbert was dropped by Gabriel's orders. Herbert is excited to hear the great news, but Gabriel warns Herbert to be careful because people are starting to ask questions. When setting up the event, Philip tells the workers to be careful of the boxes because the things inside the box keep track of the donations. Gabriel warns Pascal that Assane will come, so keep an eye out and report it to him if there is a problem. Pascal asks Herbert if Assane will come, and Herbert answers,
The question's not whether he'll come, but when.
3 weeks before Assane was flying the drone, Benjamin saw Lucas's name on the paper, and we find out he is a wealth manager for Herbert. Every time he goes out with his briefcase, it has the customer's data inside. So if Assane and Benjamin wants to know about Herbert's data, they need to get the briefcase. So they set up the robbery where Benjamin runs into Lucas to steal the briefcase and goes off to get the accounts. Once that is done, Assane returns the briefcase back to Lucas. Assane and Benjamin go to a library to find an accomplice by watching whoever goes to a Lupin section and seeing what they do. Until they find Philip stealing a book, and Philip calls them out for spying on him to ask them what they want. They give Philip a huge makeover to make him look like a finance worker and the details he would need to know. Assane calls Lucas to warn him about Philip, who is trying to approach Herbert. Then Lucas calls Herbert to warn him about Philip's questionable way of making money, and Herbert gets interested in Philip. Philip meets with Herbert and gives some info on Herbert's business and ideas to get even richer by taking the money from the fundraiser. Philip shows Assane the box and gives Benjamin a uniform. Benjamin and Philip pushes the box to the fundraiser with Assane inside the box, but along the way Gabriel stops them to check what's inside. So Philip opens one of them to show what's inside and tells Gabriel there are 15 others in the truck to get him to back off. At the police station, Sophia gets a call that Assane isn't the killer and it is someone else because of the footprint left on Leonard's coat. Yusuf hears the news and he is happy because of the evidence Assane gave him. He also shows Sophia the video of Gabriel when he was held by Assane and shows it to Roman too. They go to a secluded room for Yusuf to speculate on the evidence that they found, and Leonard might have killed Babacar while Gabriel was in charge of the case. He thinks Gabriel, Leonard, and Herbert are all connected, so they go to the fundraiser to arrest them if possible. Assane, Benjamin, and Philip gets ready and tells Assane where Herbert is located before the show starts. Juliet starts the fundraiser and asks the crowd to donate when the concert is playing. The concert starts and Assane suddenly shows up behind Herbert holding a knife to his neck to ask questions. Assane tries to get Herbert to admit he was trying to kill Assane, and he finally said he tried to, but messed up, so he framed Assane for Leonard's murder. Assane gets Herbert to say Pascal killed Leonard and then asks why he framed Babacar. Herbert tells him he hired Babacar to frame him for the necklace, for the insurance money, and then sent Leonard to kill Babacar because he was gonna keep fighting it. Assane really wants to kill Herbert but leaves. Herbert informs the guards and they chase after Assane. Assane is able to lock some of them outside and goes back inside to be chased some more. A man pulls out a gun to shoot Assane, but Assane puts on the safety to continue his escape, while Benjamin is watching the show all the way at the top. Gabriel gets a message and tells the squad to go in for Assane. Pascal goes into a room where Assane is, but he doesn't know where Assane is at. Assane goes in for a surprise attack and they fight it out. Luckily, Assane is able to get the upper hand to knock out Pascal and locks him in a room to continue, but Gabriel stops Assane. Luckily, Roman and the gang were there to stop Gabriel to let Assane continue his master plan. Assane crashes the show and plays pictures of his past with Babacar. Then Assane exposed Herbert to all of the attendees. Right before the police could take down Assane, the lights go off, making everyone panic and trying to leave. That gave them the chance to escape the building. Benjamin and Philip goes to the car to give Philip the final payment for helping them with the scheme. Philip asks what's going to happen with all the donations, and Benjamin tells him it's all going to the foundation. Assane dresses up as a security to leave and informs the officers that he's on the rooftop. Assane sends Yusuf a recording of the conversation with Herbert exposing all his crimes. Then Yusuf arrests Herbert after that. Right before going out, Assane puts his head down so the police won't notice him, but an officer spots him so he runs for it. He is able to get on a boat and rides off. The officers call for backup to chase Assane while he rides away. Assane calls Claire to meet up for one last time and Raoul agrees to the meetup. They go to the bridge and Assane is glad they both showed up. Assane says his goodbye and promises to watch them from afar. Then he disappears into the night and the police show up shortly afterwards to chase Assane. Well, that's the end of this series. If you want to watch some more recaps, here are some more at the top. If you like this series, I hope you can like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.